So today, our topic for today is penetration testing for cybersecurity professionals, and looking at pen testing, it's one of the best way or one of the proactive ways of identifying the weaknesses in your security in your organization's system, and this can help you build a strong defense. So today we're looking at pen testing or penetration testing, and what is it like? So pen testing, it's uh, an attempt, a penetration attempt, or finding vulnerability in a system or exploiting a vulnerability in a computer system. Sorry. So, and the purpose of the penetration testing is, to stimulate the system or to
Yeah,
find weakness in a system or system. Sorry, guys, we are having some network difficulties, but yeah, let's continue. Am I audible? Yeah.
yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. All right, then let's continue. So why is pen testing, why is penetration testing important in an organization or in your organization? First, it will help you identify and prioritize the loopholes, the weaknesses in your security system. And it also helps you manage these weaknesses since you already know what they are and you know how to manage them. And they also help you in finding the bugs or the loopholes in your software systems. Uh, and then it meets the regular compliance to also help you comply with the standards uh, such as PICDSS. It increases the confidence in your security strategy. Pen testing also assures customers and other stakeholders that their data is being protected. So, who performs the penetration testing? Uh, one of the biggest handle is in creating a successful cybersecurity program is finding people, the right people with the qualification and experience. So the cybersecurity skills gap is documented with a qualified supply of security professionals not keeping up with the demand. This particular is true with pen testing. Unfortunately, there is no shortage of cyber threat actors or cybercrime group consequences. So this, just say the people who can perform these pen testers, uh, yes, as I said, a penetration tester, cybersecurity analyst, or the cybersecurity engineers. um, there is the ethical hackers, you know, the blue teams. So before you do a pen testing, you look at the stages of you look at the stage of pen testing. So the first stage in penetration testing is the planning, the preparation and planning. You gather as much information as possible about the exploit or the system uh, or the scope of the pen testing, the pen testing. And before you can do, the next stage is reconnaissance. Reconnaissance is where you gather the information about the system. You look at the IP addresses, the the network, the security system before you go to the next stage, which is scanning. Like you scan for the open ports, uh, and then now you penetrate, like gain the access. Since you already know the open ports or the loopholes, you now gain the access to the system. Uh, and then while you're in the system, you also try to maintain the access while doing the penetration testing. And then the last stage is the analysis and the WAF configuration, uh, where you run it again before you proceed to the final. So before I proceed, let me invite Chol to also take us through uh, the 5 stages before we proceed. Chol?
Okay, thank you so much, Joel. Um, uh, as you mentioned of penetration testing, the reason why we conducted this kind of training, so it's basically that we need to target only those who are already there in the cybersecurity domain, not just like the normal people, because cybersecurity is more of the IT. But again, we need to also give chance to these people who try to get into the cybersecurity field. We're creating this training just basically for these people who are trying to come into the field. And again, when we talk about penetration testing, it's kind of like a way of if you hear someone talk about what we call ethical hacking, is the same thing what we call penetration testing, but in a way that a tester, the tester we're going to test the systems. So there should be a sub stage need to be followed by this penetration tester. So what are those 5 stages for the pen tester to follow? So as you mentioned, number one is planning. So you need to plan. So the first thing you need to understand, you need to to the company because, for example, maybe you are a firm that also do pen testing, or maybe do what we call um, um, a security assessment or maybe a security auditing is also part of penetration testing. So you go to the company, so you ask them, before you go to the penetration testing, there's other thing they need to follow. So number one, you need to have what we call a planning. So you need to have a plan in the place. Why do you want to do the pen testing? So then from there, when you have the pen testing, then they will give you the scope. Because in the company, there's some part of the network you will not go. So for example, you are doing the pen testing for the network. So what are the scope of that network you're going to pen test? So for example, it will give you the range of IP addresses. They will be like, okay, these are the range of IP addresses from this to this IP addresses. These are the network that you're going to check for the vulnerability. If you go beyond the scope, so which means you don't follow the rules. So now you need to stick on the rule that has given to you, that is the scope. And that's why you come to planning on what we call a reconnaissance. So reconnaissance is kind of what we call information gathering, where you use Googling, then you use kind of other resources in available there to make sure that you give more depth about this company that you do pen testing. So the plan. So what are the things that you need to do? So that's why we need to go to what we call rule of engagement. So the rule of engagement, this is where now a pen tester need to have the understanding between the pen tester and the customer that you're going to pen test their network. So before you go to pen test, so there are some documents you need to understand. And also there's some kind of agreement you need to understand before you go to pen testing. Then from there, we go to what we call scanning. After you know this is the networks, then you do the information gatherings, you do what we call open source intelligence. Then that's why you know, okay, I know the topology of network these people are using. Then I know the services being on those systems behind the scenes, everything that you need to know about this network. Then that's why you come and do what we call scanning. Scanning, there's 2 ways that you can do this kind of scanning, whereby it can be active or it can be passive. So a passive meaning, so you need to get like more information about like snipping the networks, then try to listen on what are the tools, what are the services that are running behind the system. So before you go to what we call active engagement, that is active scanning, whereby you need to interact with the system directly, whereby you need to scan the networks, the devices, and all of the things that you need to get like the weaknesses in the system. So after you get the scanning, then you come what we call gaining access. So you already find the vulnerability, the weaknesses in the system. So what remains out is you to get access to the system. That's what we call exploitation phase. So now you need to get access to the system. That's why you need to hack into the system, because you already find out there's a vulnerability in the systems, and then you can exploit the vulnerability in the system. After you gain access to the systems, what happens? You need to make sure that they're what we call maintaining access. Why do you want to maintain the access? Because sometimes, assuming that maybe the system that you compromise, maybe the owner of the machine will shut the computer down. But next time when you come back, when the owner of the company want to open the machine back again, so that should be the backdoor in the system. That should be some software to give you more information back to the attacker. So that's why you need to put what we call a backdoor into the system. Maybe because later on, maybe the hacker, maybe you want to get more information about the system, or maybe there are some changes in the system. So you don't have the access in the system. So come what we call clearing the tracks. How do you clear in the tracks? Because sometimes it happens in the big companies, you find that they will know that there's someone that hacked into their systems. So that's why the hacker, you don't need to be caught. You don't need someone to come into to know you. So who get into the system? So now you need to make sure that you clear the tracks, whereby when someone comes in, they will not get you. So that's what we call clearing the tracks. So analysis and web applications, that's what we call web. If you see, this one is what we call web application firewall. So now this is where you need to know how this setting is being done. That is the work of pen tester. So you need to put what we call recommendations when you do the pen testing. These are the weaknesses in the systems. So what help can you do to the company? So that's why you need to do analysis on the web application configurations, the settings, and all this. Then you submit the report. Because now when you do the penetration testing, it's not just a random thing that you do and then you just leave. So you do pen testing also, you do what we call a reporting writing. You write a report, then you give it to the company, plus the recommendation and recommendations on the solutions. So you give to them. Now that's the work of their network engineers, or maybe their security system, to their security system engineers to fix those vulnerability, but with the recommendation from you as a penetration tester. So that's what I can add about this. Sure, you can continue.
Thank you, Chol. Thank you. Yeah, now we know the stages of pen testing. What should you do after a pen test? After you've known all the types, or what to do. So now let's see what you can do after a pen testing.
So I continue, John. Okay, thank you so much, Joel. I think I will take over from here, and I think Joel will be the one controlling the sprint. And later on, because I'll be taking, I also need to share some practical session later on. But I think for now, let me just continue from here. Thank you so much, Joel. I want to start from here. What does the reconnaissance mean? So when it comes to what we call penetration testing, it's more of like knowing what are the systems, so what are the loopholes in the system. So that's why the company, they will come to the company that also is specializing on this kind of service, because penetration testing is also the service. So you come to the companies as the individual that you see that maybe you are not sure what is happening on your systems, because now you can bring some network engineers, you can also put some kind of network infrastructure in the place, you can put all these firewalls, ideas, and all kind of security solution in the place. But later on, these things, when they come to your company, when you try to configure them, when you put them, sometimes, you know, these engineers, sometimes they have to look all their weaknesses when it comes to configuration of this service. So now that's why now we need to hire these people, these professionals who are good at penetration testing, so that to find out what are the weaknesses in the system. So what are the loopholes in the system? So now, then that's why you come in as a company, and then you sign what we call a DNA. So you sign an agreement. Also, you give the scope to the pen tester, because this penetration testing, there are some docs we need to sign. It's not just like the one way that you go to the company. Also, the company be like, okay, these are the network that you're going to test. These are the IP addresses. These are the web applications. These are Android phone and all this. This is network or wireless or something. So there should be an agreement in place, because what if like the hacker also go beyond the scope? Because if you go beyond the scope, so that why is not like, you don't follow the rules of engagement. So we are going to talk about what are the rules of engagement that you need other penetration tester. So now that's why this training is all about penetration testing. And that's why we not talk about what the cybersecurity is all about, because this one we target only those who are in the field of cybersecurity, or those who are trying to, those who in the field of IT, computer science, computer engineers, also they're trying to shift it to cybersecurity field. So that's why we are here to make sure that we show you how you can do what we call penetration testing. Otherwise, you can call it ethical hacking in other way. So when it comes to what we call reconnaissance or maybe information gathering, so there's a lot of tool and technique that you can use under penetration testing. You can use what we call open source intelligence. So there's a lot of resources online there for you to allow you as a penetration tester to work on this. Sometimes you can become also a bug hunter. There's one called a bug hunting program that you can also go in. Also, you need to learn how these things are happening. So in the cybersecurity domain, there's a lot of things that happen. It's a very interesting field there whereby you can enjoy and you can be you can be your own boss. You don't need someone to like looking for work or something. If you are good at these things. So let me just jump into what we call reconnaissance. Reconnaissance is more of trying to know what is or this organization is all about. So assuming you are giving the project now to do the penetration testing. So what do we do first? The first step is to what we call reconnaissance. They call information gathering, footprinting, and also doing some kind of also, and that's what we call open source intelligence. Then that's why the whole infrastructure of the company, so the email addresses of the company, so the website of the company, and then the people are working in that company. You start looking what we call researching about the email of these companies. So you search of the people who are working, the CEOs, so the network engineer, the cybersecurity specialists, all kind of the people you get. There's a lot of resources there where you can do like gather information about this company. So when you do what we call reconnaissance, you have the information in the place. Okay, okay, now I know the network topology, so I know the service that's being run. I know also who is the CEO. I know who is what and what. So that's why you need to have like, you have a plan. That's why the plan was coming. So how do you do the attack right now? So when that was the information gathering, then you come to what we call the attack phase. So in reconnaissance, we have a two types of reconnaissance in the place. We have active reconnaissance and we also what we call a passive reconnaissance. So when we talk about active, active, that is the way that when you want to interact with the system directly, like using the system, like IP addresses, using, some tool to scan the network, like using Nmap and some kind of tool that, you need to know what are the services that are running in the system. So that's what we call active, like it's a direct interaction with the system. So you can't what we call a passive. Passive is more of like listening to what is happening. It's kind of what we call you sniff the whole network. It's kind of snipping, or maybe doing some kind of social engineering attack, to make sure that what is happening in the system, or maybe you can do what we call man in the middle attack, so that you know what's happening in the system before you do what we call the attacking. So that's why you become more good when it comes to information gathering. For you to become a professional hacker, so what do you need? You need to be good at information gathering. You know what we call a Google hacking. That's why there's a free tool using Google to do this kind of hack. Shall I go to another slide? Sean, can you go to another slide? Yes. So thank you, Sean. So, you need to understand now, you understand that there's what we call a reconnaissance. That's what we call information gathering. You know how to gather the information using some tool available online. And also now you need to understand what does the vulnerability scanning mean and what does the penetration testing mean. So I think my friend Sean talk about what a penetration testing mean. Now I want to just tell a little bit about vulnerability scanning. So what is the difference between a penetration testing and a vulnerability scanning? So the difference is now in the vulnerability assessment, the vulnerability scanning is kind of like using the available tool, the free tool available online to scan the network, the web application, the server, and the application running on the network. So now this one will give you the more overview of the tools and the weaknesses in the system, because these tools, they will give you all the information on how you can fix these bugs when it comes to when it comes to making sure that the network is secure. So one of the best tools that we normally use now, they are called NASes. NASes is one of the best tools that you can use to scan networks and then to find the weaknesses in the system before you do what we call pen testing. So scanning is more of like knowing what is happening in the network. So what are the weaknesses? What are the services that are running behind the scene? So now when you run this pre-tool, and that's why you see the weaknesses, you will see the services that are running, which are the ports that are running. So that's why you know, okay, this port is running. So why am I using this port? What is the use of this port? And what are the weaknesses under this port? So that's why you become in like, you need to know how you can block this kind of port. Now, again, you need to understand the penetration testing. Now you understand that the weaknesses in the systems. Now you need to exploit this vulnerability. So the reason why we want to do penetration testing, or maybe to exploit those vulnerabilities, just to make sure that, like, just think like being a hacker from outside the network. So if you see, they see that there's weaknesses in the system, so that's why they will come in, they will compromise the network. But as you are the penetration tester, so you are coming in to make sure that the network is secure from this cyber threat. So that's why you need to fix, and then you need to also do what we call recommendations and a report to the company. Okay, you know what? I did all the scannings. These are the weaknesses that I got. I also try to exploit them, because now we are doing a penetration testing. You need to have the proof. You know, as a penetration tester, you don't just scan the network, then you give the report. You know, these are the weaknesses that I got in the network. You need to put what we call, the evidence. So what are the evidence that these weaknesses can be exploited by the hackers? So that's why you need to do what we call exploitation. That's what we call hacking, that gaining access to those vulnerabilities, to give the proof to the network, to the owner of that network, so that they know that what is happening, and they know how they can close those loopholes to make sure next time no one can hack them. So that's the difference between penetration testing and also vulnerability scanning. Chol, continue to the slide. Yes. So now you also understand what is the difference between vulnerability and penetration testing. Now we need to understand what are the different types of penetration tests that you need to do as a penetration tester. So here on the list, but not limited to this, there's a lot of things that you can do pen testing. So if you don't see them here, they're also part of penetration testing. So we have what we call OT, is not here. We what we call IoT, they're what we call Internet of Things, they're also part of penetration testing. But here I just put the main thing that we need to pen test as penetration tester, because you understand what are the type of penetration testing that you need to do as a penetration tester. The networks. You need to know what are the servers that are running the network. You need to know what are the ports that are running, what are the protocols being run by this service. So now you need to understand, you need to know how this web application work, because as a penetration tester, you need to be good at networking. If you're not good at networking, how are you telling me that? How are you going to know the weaknesses in the system, even if you have the pre-tool available outside there to do this kind of penetration testing? But still, you need to know this tool, because networking is very important. That you need to understand the tool, you need to understand the protocol being used by this service, because each and every service that's running here, they have their own protocol, they have their own service that are running. They have their own service that are running behind the scenes. So that's why you need to be good at networking. Not even like to be a super network engineer, but at least you should have a basic network of understanding. But you cannot tell me that you don't know networking and you're good at penetration testing. What are you pen testing? So that's why we need to make sure that we need to make things so that I understand what is going to. That's why you need to understand what you're going to do in the future as a penetration tester. So you need to know also how web application work. How are you going to do, like, find the weaknesses in the web application when you're not good at, knowing the normal coding and all this. But don't be like a more programmer here. We don't need to be a super programmer, but at least you need to understand when it comes to coding, the code that's being run. Because, sometimes that's where you can just, you need to go through the coding and all this. You need to find out the weaknesses on the coding, and you need to know what is behind the source code of the company. So you come to what we call a client-side penetration testing. That's why you need to come to the client one by one, that the companies that, maybe a company, they have a lot of clients that are working with them. So you need to go to them directly, and you need to do pen testing on their computer as a normal machine and all kind of things. So we talk about wireless network. Wireless network, we have a lot of, the standard that being used. We have WPA, we have WPA2, we have a WEF and all these. Now you need to understand, because there are some network engineers, when it comes to configuration of these wireless networks, there are something they don't need to consider when it comes to configuration of this wireless. So they just do like the default setting, they just bring the wireless, and then they put it there, the wireless is working. But there's some important thing that they just forget to configure when it comes to security, because security is the main thing here. But again, so as a penetration tester, you go walk into the network, then you do the pen testing. Whether this networking are using the right protocol or the right standard for the wireless to be configured, so that because the network should be secure, there's no one can do what we call, gaining access to the network and also trying to, to steal information from the network. So that's why as a penetration tester, so you are coming in to make sure that so all these vulnerabilities are fixed, and also the whole of the network are aware about the weaknesses on the system. We talk about social engineering. Social engineering is kind of like you work it as, you can go physical to the company, and then you pretend as if you are, you are a network engineer, or maybe you are a support engineer or something like that. So they can also give access to their server room, whereby you come physical to the corporate networks, and then move with your flash or any kind of thing that you can also hack the company using a social engineering. So social engineering is kind of a technique being used by this hacker to manipulate human like you, like playing your psychology to get access to your network. So you need to be aware of what we call social engineering, because we have a social engineers penetration tester where you work with the company, and then you pen test the physical security. But again, don't forget physical security, and then it's a one of also penetration test, because the company can also do what we call a physical security to know so whether their physical security is well protected. Do they have a security guard? Do they have a CCTV cameras? So do they have this kind of security solution, a physical security solution in the place? So as a penetration tester, then you work in, and then you do these things of penetration testing. So Joel, you can continue with the slide. Yes. So now, as a penetration tester, you need to understand what are the rules of engagement. So rule of engagement is very important when it comes to you are a penetration tester, or maybe a professional guy who can find loophole, someone who can find a vulnerability in the system also to report to the company. So that's why you need to understand what are the rules, what are the PI type of penetration test, the rule of engagement. So the rule of engagement is a document. That's what I was mentioning. As a penetration tester, it's not just like you get your machine, so you walk into the company, then you tell them, I'm just trying to come and this. It's kind of, it's an agreement. That's why sometimes it's called, penetration testing in stock is a co-hacking. As is a co-hacker, so that should be the agreement. The document need to be signed. So that document, so they will give you the scope. So the number one, they will give you the scope. For example, if you're doing the pen test for the website, a web application. Web application, there are a lot of, let me give you the example for, let me say Amazon. So the Amazon, when you look at Amazon, they have a lot of subdomain. So those subdomain, so when you find subdomain, they will give you the ranges of the subdomain. There are subdomain they will not give to you, and there are subdomain they will give to you. But if you go beyond the scope, so that's why you violate the rule of engagement. So that's why anything happens when you touch a sensitive information on that penetration testing, so you'll be accountable for you to be killed, because now you are not following the rule of engagement. So please give me the screen, Bida. Guy, can you share the screen? So can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Yeah. Can you see my screen? Oh, you can see my screen, guy?
Yes, yes.
Can you see it?
Yeah, it's clear. You can see it.
Can you see my screen? Okay. So let me continue. Sorry for that. Yeah, so I was talking about the rule of engagement. So you need to have the scope, because in the network, for example, you're doing a pen test for the website. So the website, they have a lot of subdomain within that the main website. So that's why they will give you the list of the website that you're going to pen test. They will give you the main website and also the subdomain of that company. So there are some subdomain that are very sensitive that they don't need you to go and do penetration testing on those. So that's why it is a very good, you need to understand this kind of what we call the rule of engagement. You don't just go beyond the scope. So this one is very crucial. You need to have like this kind of your mind. So again, you need to have the client contact detail. So this thing can happen when you're writing the report, because this one will give more detail what is happening, who do the penetration tester, and which client are doing the penetration testing for. So the client contact is very important. Also the client IT team notification. So after you given the go ahead, and also you have the scope for testing. So now the IT team, so they have to give you all detail on what is happening. So you need to also know how to handle this kind of sensitive data, when it comes to penetration testing, because we are doing a pen test, there's a lot of sensitive data that you're going to across. So that's why you need to know all this kind of when it comes to penetration testing for you to handle this sensitive information. So meeting and and reporting, after you find the weaknesses in the system, then you write your own report. That report also tell them, when you're writing a report for penetration testing, there are two things you need to understand. When you're writing a report, because the report is going to be presented to the top management. So the top management, they are not technical people, and also there are the team for the IT people who understand this technology. Now you need to understand when you're writing a report, it has to be in two ways. It has to be for the executive, and also they have to be for technical people, because these technical people, they will understand how things work. But there's the people who are non-technical people, they don't understand this. When you talk about this term and these technologies and all these big words, they will not listen to you. But now that's why you need to understand how to simplify your report so that they will understand what is the weakness in the system. So for example, you said, I point a vulnerability. What does a vulnerability mean? So now that's why you need to calm down, you need to know how to write a report. As a penetration tester, you need to be good at report writing. So for the executive summary and all things and all that. So that's the very good important when it comes to penetration testing. So now, we are doing a pen testing. So there are the three things you need to understand as a penetration tester. So the type of testing method. So the methodology doesn't change, but also tool and technique also, they do change sometimes. As a penetration tester, don't just rely on this free tool available for you to do the penetration testing, because sometimes some of the tools, they will not bring what you expect to get from the system. So that's why you need to understand the methodology and also on how things work. So now we have three types of method. So one is what we call a black box testing. So a black box testing, this is where, so the company will come to you as a penetration tester. They will be like, okay, we need to do a penetration tester, but they will not give you any information about your website. They will not give you any information about IP addresses. They will not give you nothing. There's nothing that's going to give to you. As a penetration tester, you need to go and do what we call information gathering and reconnaissance, and also do what we call open source intelligence. You need to know what this company is all about. So that we call a black box testing. You know nothing about the company. Like the zero, you have a zero knowledge about the company. Then that's what we call a black box testing. So we talk about what we call a white box testing. So a white box testing, this means this guy, they've already given you something. You have a clue, like you know what's happening. You know the network topology, so you know all the stuff that are running. Also they also give you the ranges of IP address to be tested. Or maybe they're already giving you to what the list of subdomain, or maybe the main domain of the company to test our penetration tester. So you know something about the internal network and everything about network. So the gray box. So the gray box means you have like not a complete, but at least you understand, not black. So at least you understand some kind of network, but at least you can do something. But maybe they will give you some kind of network or some information, but not complete the white boxing. So that's the difference between these three boxes when it comes to penetration testing. And also you need to understand them when it comes to doing a pen test for the company. So now we do what we call when it comes to testing. So there are things that you need to understand as a penetration tester. So sometimes you can walk into the company whereby you can do the pen testing with the company. Or for example, you just walk to the company as a team, or maybe the company being hired by this company. So you walk in, and then they will give you the IP addresses, or they will give you the website for you to do the pen testing. So then that's why there's also a way that they will just give you the range of IP address. You can do verify, you can do it when you're in Uganda, you can do the pen test when you're in Kenya, you can do the pen test when you're in Europe, or any kind, or anywhere in the country, you can do the pen testing. So as long as you have all the details that you want to pen test, penetration testing doesn't need you to be the physical in the place. So as long as you understand the network topology, you understand the service, the tool being used by this company. So you can do anywhere as a penetration tester. You don't need to be there physically. So that will call external testing. Yes. Internal testing, that's why a penetration tester, you need to go to the company. You walk through, they will take you through, this is our firewall, this is our server room, this is our network, and these are networks working. So that's why you can also understand, and you can also come up with a plan that how can you start the attack. You can attack the company using maybe through phishing, or maybe you can also do it through what we call you can also set the fake Wi-Fi, and also the employees, they will get in. Then that's why you can get this credential and also steal the information, and also you can hack them. That's why it is a part also of penetration testing. What is teaming? So there's a teaming I need to understand. We have red team. So red team is part of what we call offensive side. If you want to come into cybersecurity and you need to be a serious hacker, so a cracker, someone who can hack the system. So that's why you need to be among this team. Is called red team. So these are the people who are on offensive side. So these are the hackers that can hack into the system. So they can attack, and then also they can also give the recommendation to the company. So we have a blue team. So blue team is kind of a team that also they are the defensive side. So this guy, they will hack the company, and then this is the red team. Red team will try to hack into the system, but the blue team will give you the idea what is happening. So these are the way that you can put this kind of firewall, and then you can also put what we call intrusion detection systems. You can also put this tool like what we call intrusion prevention system and all kind of network security infrastructure in the place, so that you understand. That's why SOC come in. So we understand SOC also work in the blue teaming. So SOC will also monitor the whole network. SOC will also give all the information what's happening in the network. So that's the difference between the red team and blue team. So a purple team is like is the referee between the black team, between the red team and the blue team. These are the people who can also team up with other side and trying to know what's happening with the red team and blue team. So they can be both of this team. So guys, I think this is the end of my slides, and so now we are going right back to the practical. So our practical today is going to be just within the Windows systems and also the Linux system. So we're going to do a simple demonstration on how this system is being hacked. So give me some few minutes then to set up my lab, and then I will get back to you. Yeah, can you see my screen? Guy, can you do my screen? Can you see my screen? Yeah, if you can see my screen now, we are here in Kali Linux. So some of you maybe they heard about Kali Linux and they don't know how to use the Kali Linux. So if you want to be a serious penetration tester, you need to know this kind of operating system like Linux, Windows, Mac, and all kind of these tools. So now what I'm going to be doing, like we need to attack the Windows machine. So this is my virtualization lab. So now when you are doing a penetration tester, you don't just do to the company that did not give you the permissions. That's why you need to understand what we call rule of engagement. So you do the pen testing for the company that you are being told to do so. If you are not told to do so, so you are against what we call that is a cyber crime. So you be arrested. So that's why you need to understand this kind of role of engagement. So now this is my platform that I'm going to be attacking the Windows machine. My window machine is already in the labs. I know the IP address of my window. I will share with you the window that I have here. I just want to share so that you see the window. Yeah, you can see it. This is the window that we're going to be attacking now. So this machine here is a window machine, and then this is our biggest machine that we're going to hack, and then the line will be our attacker machine. So now let me go back to my Kali Linux. So yes. So now there's something that I need to show you that so that you understand, you see what's happening. Let me go back to my window machine so that you see how you can find the IP address of this machine. So you come down here, the same thing to the to the window 10, window 11, and all this. So you go to what we call CMD. This is what we call a command. This is a command interface. What do you need first here when you reach here as a penetration tester? You need to find what is the IP address of this machine. You're going to pan testing. So now, like for example, you need to do a scanning. You already have the scanning and all. You know the IP address of this machine. So what do you need? You just need the IP address of that machine. Then you do the scanning. You can do nmap to do the scanning. But I need to know what is the IP address of this machine. Then I can just come here, IP config. Then I press enter. So now you see this Windows machine's IP address is 192.168.113.130. That's the IP address of this machine. That's the Windows machine. And then let me go back to the Linux machine. That is my Linux computer. So now I will come here, I will open my terminal. So when I come here, so the thing that you need to understand, you need to log in as a root user. So you need to log in as a root user for you to have all these kind of privileges to hack the system. So now I have to make sure that I log in as a super user. Then I have to put my password. Then this is my password. I'm already here as the owner of this machine. Hope you can see my screen very clear. So that's why I'm trying to increase the size. And then, so now, me, I already know the IP address of this machine. If you don't know the IP address of this machine, what do? You can use nmap to scan this network. Then you can use an nmap. Just matter of knowing the networks. You can use some scanning tools. I can use this. Then I can put the IP address of the machine. Because I already know the IP address after you do the scanning. Then it is this .13.130. So this is my Windows machine IP address. Now I don't need to go to this. I will use what we call a manual penetration testing. Like I can use what we call Metaploid. A Metaploid is also the framework that you can use for hacking this machine and then to get access to these weaknesses in the system. From there, I just come and open my MSS console, that is Metaploid. Let's wait for it. Let's give it time, it's coming. Yes, we are here now. So now we are already in the interface of the Metaploid. So Metaploid is the one of Metaploid is developed by what we call the Rapid7. So Rapid7 is a company that also work on this kind of tool and technique that also you can use to exploit the system. So Metaploid is one of the best tool outside that you can use as a penetration tester to test the weaknesses, also to do access into network. So this tool is the best tool outside there. As a hacker, you want to be the like the eco hacker, you can use this tool. It's very good tool that you can do what you call exploitation. So now we need to do this kind of how to search as expert into search for. It's called XML, then XML blue. Then I press enter, then I search for it. So these are the exploits and also the weaknesses in the system. So now I need to find out. So this is what we are looking for, auxiliary number 3. So we need to attack what we call Zamba. So Zamba is one of the tools being used by Microsoft. So it's one of the weaknesses that Microsoft used in some days back, but now this vulnerability is already fixed. But this is how you can also exploit to the Windows. So now we need to make sure that we use the number 3. That's number 3. Then I select number 3. Oh, sorry. Let me get back. Sorry. And then I use number 3. And then I also want to show options. I need to show what are the options I need to set as for me to attack this machine. So if you go up here, so you will see as a hacker, you need to know what's happening. You need to put IP address. So you see what we call ROS. So ROS, if you look at the description here, so you will see it is a target host. So what are your target that you need to hack this machine? So you need to know what machine that you need to hack. So again, I know I might pay the hacker or the attacker, and also I know the IP address of this machine I'm going to attack. So what do I do? So I just come in here, and then I set what we call set ROS, that is the remote host, the remote machine that I want to attack. I know the IP address already, that is 1.1.68.1.3.1.30. Then I press enter. Oh, sorry. supposed to be T, not H. Is T. And then I press enter. It is already set. Then I also need to show option again. Need to show if I set the option correctly. Then you see here the IP address for remote host is already set. What do I need first now? The second option. I need to set the local host. The local host is your machine that is going to be like attacking. That is attacker machine. For now, I need to know whether this machine is vulnerable to attack or is not vulnerable. I need to know exactly whether this machine is vulnerable or is not. Password a moment. So now I need to know whether it's vulnerable for attacks. Now let me see. So when you see here, when you see the reply here down here, what do you see here? So you see this source is currently vulnerable to this exploit and it's a Windows 7 home. So this machine is running 64-bit. I already know this machine already. So what do I need right now? So this scan is already done, but it's not yet exploited. But I just want to get information whether I can hack this machine. But I know that this machine is hackable. So I can hack this machine and also vulnerable to what we call 7S7. MS17-010. So this one, I can just have this machine. So there's a few things that I'm going to do right now for me to hack this computer, because this is my Linux machine as attacker machines. Then that window is the victim machines. So the one we are going to be attacking. So now I already know this machine is vulnerable now. You see now, they said it's likely vulnerable to this. So we mean I can hack this machine. So just to get a way of getting in. What do? I need to set let me just go back again. Let me just set the payload. I just set the payload for this vulnerability. So we already know that this is the Windows machine. We just said Windows, the Windows machine is light. And then it is 64. You already know it is a 64-bit here. You understand here that the architecture of this machine is 64. Then I put 64, and then forward slash. Then I put the shell because I want to get the remote shell. I can control this machine when I'm very far. Then reverse. I have to reverse it back to my machine. And then TCP, that is the protocol I'm going to use. Then I press enter. Oh, yeah, I think that's something that I did not put correctly. Let me get back here. Windows, set payload. Yeah. Okay, good. So it's okay. Let me just go back like this. So for me to set a good payload. And then I use 3. Now I need to understand which one to use. I need to look for exploit. Use for exploit. Let me use 3. Let me use 0. Then because I already know that this machine. Then you see from there, you will see the information here that there's no payload configured to these IP addresses. So now we need to configure this one manually. So now we need to set IP address for the remote machine. That's the machine we are going to attack. I know the IP address already is 1968.113.130. That's the IP address for the remote machine. So now I need to set what we call the payload because they say the payload is not set. So we need to set the payload, and the payload is for Windows. It's for Windows machine, not Linux. It's for Windows machine, and then it is also 64-bit in architecture. 64 machine. And then I also need to set the shell because I want to remote this machine. I want to control this machine remotely. TCP, that's the protocol I'm going to use. Oh, that payload. So why? Why does the payload is not valid? So let me see. Okay. Oh, God. So 54, I said shell, reverse, TCP. Yes, so the payload is already set. You see now the payload is set already. We are here. So we can control this machine. So there's the two things that need to set first. Also, we need to set the host machine. The host machine is my Linux machine. Then we just said his LOS, we just said LOS, that is the local host. So the attacker machine. So the IP address, I know my IP address on my Linux is 68.13.54. Then I set. So now I need to also set the health port, that is the local port that I'm going to be running this. Then the local port. Then I said 443, and then that is for the TCP. Then I also said that. So what is remaining now, just to exploit this machine, whether I can hack this machine right now. So let's see whether we can hack this machine remotely. So now what I can do, you can just say run this, or you can also type exploit. They're all the same thing. So there's no difference here. Just said exploit. So let's see how if I can hack this machine. So let's wait. So let's wait for the reverse connection back to my attacker machine. That is my Linux. Let's see how it's going to work. So what do you see right now? What do you see here? Well, I'm already here as what you see. I'm already on the window. And then when you see the message here, what do you see? The message is win. You see it is win. I already have the access to this machine. So now what do I do here? I can say who is the owner of this machine? I can say who is the owner of this machine? So you see the network is this. I can also list, I can check also the whole directories of this machine, the DAR. That's what I can see. So these are the whole for the window. These are the servers running under this window. I can see. You see this? These are all the servers running under this machine. I don't have the access to this machine. I own this machine. I can do whatever I want. This window I remotely. Even if I'm in Europe, even in Kenya, anywhere. So this machine is under my attack right now. It's also controlled by me using my Kali Linux. You see, this is the window. It's the window machine. So now I can do whatever. I can CD to analyst. I can also go to analyst. You know, I already have the control of this machine. So guys, this is how you can hack the machine remotely, and you can also hack the machine physically. As a penetration tester or maybe the SOC hacker, so it is you to find the weaknesses in the system. Also, you can also write a report to the company that, you know what, these are the vulnerability that I found, and these are the weaknesses that I got, and this is the report and recommendation that I can give to you. Now, after you find that this is the report, you have to get the screenshot of how you perform this attack. What are the tools that you use to hack this machine? How do you hack it? So these are the things that this guy they will ask you when you are giving that report to them. It's not like you just do the fan testing, you hack the machine, then you forward to the owner of the company. So you have to go and present the report. You have to present to those people who are non-technical and the people who are technical people, so that they understand what is happening. So you see, this is how I hack this machine. So now we're done with Linux, with Windows machine. So now we're going to hack also a Linux computer. How do we hack a Linux computer? So now I can also just end. I can end here. I can just exit here because this is the window interface. I can exit from here. So now I'm back to my Linux. So what do? I can also back here. So I need to search for Linux. I need to hack the Linux. So for me to hack the Linux, I have a server here. Let me share with you the screen for the server. The server is here. It's called a Metaploid. So a Metaploid is one of one of the server being designed by the Rapid 7 groups, so that they use this tool to make sure that you just play around other penetration tester, because you don't go to hack into the people machine. So I'm ready here right now because already this is my personal lab. I can hack them anytime that I want. But other penetration tester, they will give you the permission to to pen test this kind of the system. So now, what do I know? I need to know the IP address of this. How do you find IP address of this Linux machine? It's IP config. So this IP configs for the Windows is IP address. Is IP configs. For the Linux is if config. So now I already know this is the IP address of this machine. If you can also see my screen, so the IP address is here. Anyways, 128. So now I need to get out of this machine. Then I come back to my attacker machine. I don't know whether you guys have been seeing this. Let me just also share new screen. Where's it? Where's my, like, this is my, this is what I was saying. This is Linux server that we're going to have. So I was saying that if you want to find IP address of this, but as a penetration tester, you need to scan this network using what we call Nmap. So you Nmap to know what are the network's topology. So what are the IP address running by this machine? So that's when it comes to attacking this machine, you already know what is happening using your what we call reconnaissance, information gatherings, and also using open source intelligence to know what are the servers running in this machine. But as me, because this is my lab, I own this lab, I know what is happening. So I can just set ipconfig, need to know what is the IP address of this machine. It then was 128. So now let me go back to my Kali Linux. That is my attacker machine. So that is the Kali Linux. Then I'm already here. What do? I need to search for the exploit. I need to search for exploit. So the exploit that we're going to be hacking this machine is called BSP. Is what we call a file transfer protocol. How that when you send the information back to, like locally, you want to send this file to another company, another computer. What do you use? You know the protocol what we call FTP. So this FTP, you need to hack this machine through this kind of protocol because nowadays it's not secure nowadays. So the only protocol you can use for sending is what we call a secure file transfer protocol. But this F, that's what we call file transfer protocol. This protocol is no longer being used because it's vulnerable to the attackers. So now we are going to have this kind of protocol so that we can gain access to the Linux machine remotely. So now what do? I have to cite these weaknesses in the system. I come and search using my Metasploit. So it is BSFT protocol D. So let's see how we can find it out. So when you come here, you will see we have like two things, like more than 2 or 3, I can say. Now my target here is all about backdoor. You see here there's what we call backdoor. So backdoor is a kind of the malicious software that you can also insert into the machine, into the victim machine, because later on you can have what we call the reverse connection back to you as an attacker. So a reverse connection back is not something that bad. It can also be good. It can also be bad. As an attacker, you need to make sure that you have what we call maintain access. How do you maintain access to the victim machine? So for example, so you attack the machine, and later on, maybe tomorrow or next tomorrow, you want to come back to also gain access to this machine. What do you do? So as a hacker, you need to put what we call a backdoor. It's kind of malicious software to give you back whatever information happening behind the scene. So you remember before, I also have the Windows machine. What do? So I can also put what we call a backdoor, or maybe what we call a keystroke software. So I can also put a keystroke. That software can also capture all the keyboard. Whenever you type on the keyboard, it can also get back information to me as an attacker. So backdoor, it can also be a malicious and it can also be a good when it comes to other things. But also, let me give you an example. You see you have your phone, let me say you have your computer, but sometimes you find that, there's some service that you need to be updated in your version. So why do you think that this guy they're communicating to you, the manufacturer of that phone, the manufacturers of that computer, because they want to call a backdoor, that is the software, to give them information back to this company, because they will know that, okay, now when they find there's weaknesses, there's a near flash in the system, so they will push this to the system, and then they will be like, okay, you know what, you need to update your machine. So now we are going to attack this. So what I do, I will just select, you see here, they say that it's excellent. So excellent means it is a good backdoor. We mean I can hack this machine remotely. So what do? I can just say use. I can use the exploit number 1. Because you see that they put them in different locations, like different numbers. You can select whatever you want. I can press enter. So now you will see this information here. They will say that there's a no payload. So a payload is a kind of like a malicious code that you can also give a reverse connection back to the attacker. Because later on, how can you have the machine when this machine is not vulnerable? Because nowadays you can go to companies, so you find that every weakness, every exploit in the system is already fixed. But other penetration tester with a lot of understanding of the systems. So you need to understand all this kind of operating system. It's not just like you need to focus on Windows only or maybe Linux only. So you need to be like the best in do this kind of operating system. You need to understand Linux, you need to understand Mac, and also Windows systems. So now you understand what's happening. But this exploit is only for Linux. You see here it is for Unix. So now for me to hack this machine, I need to understand what is Unix all about and what is the payload is all about as a penetration tester. So now I already understand this is the payload, and this payload is only specific only for the Linux computer. So what do I use? I need to go and try what we call two options. So there's an option you need to set for it to compromise this computer. So when I come here, I need to know what do I do? What do I need to set here? What do I need? Let me go up here. What do I need? I need to set the IP address of the victim. I already know the victim IP address. What do? I set what we call the remote host. That is the remote computer. That is IP address anyways 121.168 dot 13 dot 128. That is the victim machine that I'm going to attack right now. So what else can we do? We need to set this payload. How can we set the payload? So we need to also follow some kind of like setting the IP address. We already set the IP address. So let's see how we can exploit this machine. Let me just also show the option. Then I need to see which option is not configured. I need to know all these services, whether they are configured or not. I want to see them. Yes. So whenever you look here, you see this is what we call the remote host. This remote host, that is the attacker, that the target machine that we're going to have. This computer, the IP address is not yet set. So now what do? I come back here, and then I come and set the IP address of this computer. I come down, then I set the ROS. That is the remote host. The machine that we're going to be attacking right now, that is the Linux server, is 6.1.6.1.3.128. So that is the victim machine that I'm going to be attacking right now. Everything is set, everything is ready. Now what do? I can just say exploit, or maybe I can say run. Let's see how we can run this machine. Then let me just say exploit. Boom. So this is how you can hack this machine. This machine is already hacked. So you see here, when you look here, they say the user ID is root. You see that because it's a Linux machine. So now it's connected to, they said, have a two session. That is the session 2 connected to this IP address. This is my attacker machine, and this is the victim machine. You see that? So they are communicating through what we call this port. These are the port they're using to communicate. And my machine is using this port to communicate with this machine. So what do? I need to know who is the owner of this. I can say user ID. Then you will give you this. Oh, sorry. Let me just say it, ls. So when you see here, these are the tools being run by the Linux. You see all these services that are run by the Linux. So here, I already have this machine, and it's also controlling remotely. It doesn't need to go. It doesn't need me to go physical to the location or something else. So I'm already here. So I need to know who is the owner of this machine. Who run this machine? I need to know who is the owner of this machine. So you see is root. Root is the owner, because whenever you have a machine like the Linux computer and all this, always the owner is the root. Thank you so much. This is my practical sessions, and thank you so much for being a good audience. And if you have any question, because this training is only for cybersecurity professional and ethical hackers, those who are trying to get into cybersecurity domain. So it's very interesting when you love what you really do, and that's how you can hack this machine. You see now, I already hacked the Windows machine. I already have what we call Linux machines. So next time we are going to do what we call a web application penetration testing for cybersecurity professional, where we can also hack into the website, where we can also try to learn how we can log into the website, what we call a brute force attack. Also, we can also use what we call a dictionary attack. And also we are going to design another training only for wireless network penetration testing. So whereby we can also hack this wireless network. How can we hack wireless networks? How can we also hack web applications software? Thank you so much. If you have any questions, and then you can also tell me. So this is the end of my practical. Thank you so much. Back to be done. So Bida, back to you.
Okay, thank you so much to all for the presentation. I will give it to the audience to ask questions if they have any. Otherwise, I would like to sincerely thank you, Chol, for the excellent presentation, as well as Chuol for the practical session. I hope that the participants have been able to learn one or two things. Yes, so there is no attendance list. I see someone is asking for attendance list. So there's no attendance list for this session. So don't worry about any attendance list that will be taken. There's no attendance because we do not have a data refund plan for this session. So we do not need the attendance records. I'll just stop the recording.